Good evening and welcome to our final Parent Academy of the 2021 school year. Sources of Strength, supporting and empowering our students, parents, staff, and community through the power of connection, hope, health, and strength. This event will be recorded and will be available on our website within the next 1 to 2 weeks. I will also link the evaluation in the chat as always, and would love for you to take just a few minutes to complete this brief survey to give us feedback in planning future parent academies. We really appreciate your thoughts on that. So I am very excited about tonight's presentation. Sources of Strength is an upstream suicide prevention program that we brought to D20 in 2017. It is now in 5 middle schools, 7 high schools, and 1 elementary school is piloting the program right now because Sources of Strength is new in developing that curriculum. It is such an honor tonight to have students presenting from all over our district and from our Sources of Strength schools. Every time I work with these peer leaders from across the district, I am so moved by their insight, their passion, and the way they seek to make a difference and help their peers. I have learned from them all the time. Their voices give great meaning to the work that we do. And as I tell them often in trainings and meetings, their voices have great power in their community, in their schools, to make a difference. It is my hope that as you hear students presenting tonight, that you can apply this to your own lives as well as your family life. It is not just for students, it's for adults, it's for everyone. It has truly transformed my way of thinking about being healthy and resilient, especially during this past year. I am Martha Hinson. I forgot to introduce myself. I am the Health and Wellness Specialist for the district, and Sources of Strength is one of the favorite things about my job here. So without further ado, I would like to present our MCs for the evening, Abby Siedenberg and Brinley Aiken. They are from Discovery Canyon High School. Take it away, girls.
Hi everyone, I'm Brinley.
And I'm Abby.
And as Martha already said, we are juniors at Discovery Canyon.
This is our 5th year as peer leaders with Sources of Strength at DCT.
And we are so excited to be talking with you tonight.
So let's start off with a super easy question. What is Sources of Strength?
Sources of Strength is a strengths-based, comprehensive wellness program that focuses on suicide prevention, but impacts other issues such as substance abuse and violence.
To put that in normal person terms, we got to prevent the ouchies. The program is based on peer leaders monitored by adult advisors to erase the stigmas around help seeking. And that's kind of part of what makes Sources of Strength so special. It's student-led.
Sources encourages students to individually assess and develop strengths in their life. So let's talk about what we do.
Our mission is to help prevent suicide, violence, bullying, and substance abuse.
We do this by training, supporting, and empowering both peer leaders and trusted adults to impact their world through the power of connection, hope, help, and strength.
We believe that many strengths are far more powerful than just one.
And our united goal is to activate and mobilize these strengths so that we can positively change individuals and communities.
So that's the broad perspective of what Sources is. Now we're going to discuss a little bit about what it means to us personally.
This program has impacted both of us since the very beginning when Sources of Strength was introduced in 7th grade to us.
For me, I continued in Sources because so often in high schools, we're taught the basic signs of suicide curriculum, how to identify when someone is struggling, noticing warning signs and stuff like that. And while I definitely see the value in that, and I think it's very important, I loved Sources from the very beginning so much because it was focusing on the stories of the hope, the help, and the strength in difficult situations instead of narrowing down on the sad, shock, and trauma.
I continued in Sources because I immediately saw how strong of a community it was. I knew the program was going somewhere, and I wanted to have been a part of it from the start. I was excited to influence my peers positively and was eager to affect change in the district.
I bet you guys are wondering what this thing behind us is.
This is the Sources of Strength wheel. It's our logo.
There are 8 sources on the wheel. These big 8 are what guide us in our campaigns and our lessons.
The strengths include
Mental health,
family support,
positive friends,
mentors,
healthy activities,
spirituality,
generosity,
and medical access.
In just a couple of minutes, students from across District 20 will be digging into these just a little bit more.
But in the meantime, you get to keep listening to us.
Anyone who has heard of sources is probably sick about hearing about the wheel.
But that's just because it's our base reference in everything we do.
When we meet with the other members of Sources of Strength, we usually have either a game or a designated time when we discuss which of the strengths we're relying on most at the time.
The pandemic has made it that much more important for us to be able to recognize the sources of strength we already have in our lives and find more.
One of the sources I'm relying on a lot right now is family support. For one thing, at my dad's house, we just got a new puppy, and pets are a huge source of strength inside family support. Also, my parents are in the process of getting a divorce, and adjusting to the new normal has been strange, to say the least. However, it's been amazingly helpful to see that no matter what's going on behind the scenes, everyone in my family is still here for me.
On that cheerful note, it's my turn. I have been leading pretty heavily on positive friends. I basically live at my best friend's house right now, and her family has pretty much adopted me as their own.
I've also been using generosity a lot. I've basically been volunteering my entire life. Actually, a funny story, when I was 7, I walked up to an employee who was working at Athleta and asked her how old I had to be to volunteer there. Anyways, I'd rather not relive that. The point is, I volunteer a lot. I volunteered for the YMCA, for my elementary school Antelope Trails, and I love it so much. Giving my time to others is what makes me feel good about myself.
Another source of strength that I have been utilizing is healthy activities. Over spring break, I got my hands on some longboards. Now I have my own, and I longboard all the time when the weather allows me to.
I didn't know you knew how to longboard.
To be honest, I didn't know either.
The point is, it's super important to be able to call out the things that help you get through.
Especially during COVID, all of our lives are changing.
And on top of all the stressors students and their families dealt with to begin with, now with virtual learning, work from home, and figuring out new schedules, there are even more stressors being added on to our already full plates.
Gonna put my news anchor hat on for a second. Back to you, Martha.
Thank you, girls. You just make me smile. Anyway, so next, and a lot of our trainings and meetings, one of the big questions we ask students is, what are the big stressors in your life right now? So in the chat, you will see that I have just posted a link to, it's a Mentimeter. If you will click on that link, it will bring you to a similar question that you can on identifying and ranking stressors that are appearing in your household. And we did this kind of on what we've all been dealing with this past year. So if you would just take a few minutes and click on that link, and students that are on, you can do that as well. And I will share my screen in just a minute, and we will look at the results together. Thank you. So hopefully you are able to see how you guys are ranking these, and some people are still putting their thoughts up. But we had you rank the following according to you know, what's causing the most stress in your household right now to the least. And you see number 1 is sleep disruptions. I know I have struggled with sleep a lot during this time. Academic stress. We know that that is huge right now with students. Anxiety, yes, is number 3. Repeated change of routine and quarantines, yes, and that is still going on. Oh, now I can see as we speak, things are changing. So I'm going to wait for just another 30 seconds as people complete this. But you can watch it as it happens. Okay, so it's actually, so far, academic stress is number 1. And this year has just been unprecedented with kids trying to learn online and perform after an extended pandemic. That has been so hard, and anxiety is right up there with it, which I truly believe that those two go hand in hand. And it's very difficult to focus and be motivated when you're struggling with anxiety. Then we see sleep disruptions, which anxiety causes that, right? And all the change and disruption in our lifestyles. 4th is repeated change of routine and quarantines. 5th is grief, loss of whether it's socializing, loss of a family member, loss of opportunities. 6, which looks like it's almost tied with the grief loss, is isolation. Health concerns is right underneath that, very close to isolation, which we know when we're under periods of high stress, sometimes that causes physical health issues. Oh, that one just moved up. Above, it moved up to number 5. And then the last one is certainly sports, the impact of not having that normal extracurricular things. So thank you all for sharing your thoughts there. And as we go into the rest of our presentation tonight, we're going to be talking more about how all of these protective factors around the wheel help us with dealing with these top stressors. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Liz Walhoff. Liz is the assistant principal at Air Academy High School. She is going to share our next activity.
Hi everybody, I'm very excited to be here tonight, not only because we get to hear from great students, but I'm also excited to hear from those of you who are participating either now or as you watch the recording. What I want to do is I want to share my screen, and we're going to put a link for you in the chat that you'll be able to access, which is just going to serve as a central brainstorming location. We talked about things that stress us, and now I want us to talk about things that are ways that we deal with stress. That's the real message, and the style of Sources of Strength is not to live in those dark places, but to look at how we can help each other move through them and beyond them. So in the chat, you should see a link to something called Padlet. You may be experiencing a little bit of what your students are experiencing in general, and I'm going to share my screen here. And so you should be able to see the community brainstorming Padlet here. So we encourage each of you who are watching and anyone who watches this recording later to feel free to add your own thoughts under the following categories. So here in a minute, you'll see, or you should see live now, where it says in the left-hand column, family, support, positive friends, and mentors. If you would like to add an idea or something that has helped you in one of those 3 categories, you may click the plus button. You can add a title. You can just write it out like you see Going for a Family Bike Ride was written below, or you can even upload a photo. You can search for a photo or search for a website, or you can add a link. Same thing under Healthy Activities, Generosity, and Spirituality. You'll find a plus right at the top, and you can add your own thinking there. Under Mental and Physical Health, what's been keeping you mentally and physically strong during this time? And then we added some session resources here for you that you can look at later. So I won't belabor the point. I know we have great students to get back to, but I want to encourage you, as you are listening to the students, feel free, if something that one of them says triggers something that you have done and you say, oh yeah, I forgot that we did this great thing. Feel free to add it right onto this Padlet so that by the time we are done with this conversation, there should be a wealth of resources that you can look back to and you and your family can access to help you all tap into your own sources of strength. And I'm going to hand it back now to Brinley and Abby.
All right. So now we're going to go over to each of the students who has a presentation for us. First, from Mountain Ridge Middle School, sharing about family support, we have Reese and Brenna.
Hello everyone. Today we will be talking about family support. I'm Reese Doris. One thing that I have for family support is I have a lot of good friends that I call my family because I'm not personally too close with my parents. They got divorced, so I use my friends for family support a lot. They support me through all the tough things I'm going through, and I just am very thankful for them. One thing that we all should know about family support is it is very, very important to have. If your student is going through a rough time, just talk to them and make sure they're doing okay and make sure that they don't need help. And if they do need help, get them help. And now to Brenna.
Can you guys hear me okay? Hello, my name is Brenna Riley. I'm a 7th grader at Mountain Ridge Middle School. Today I'm going to be continuing on about the importance of family support. So, family support is really important for your mental health because knowing that you have those people that love and care for you is really important. It really can support you through the day and just help you have a better day in general. Some examples of family support are parents, peers, family, friends, best friends. Sometimes family support might be our chosen family, like military community when you're far away from home, or a family member might be sick or out of town. It might be your best friend's parents. Family support doesn't have to be people that are related to you. It just has to be people that will support you in any way, shape, or form. Some examples of family support for me are parents, coaches, peers, people that will just support me. One thing that my parents do is when I'm not in the best mood, they'll leave me alone. And then when I'm ready to talk to them, I'll talk to kind of just express how I'm feeling, or I'll write down how I'm feeling. And if I don't want to talk at all, they'll just kind of let me be and respect that. Family support these are just some examples of family support, and it can come in different for everybody.
Thank you, Reese and Brenna. Friends, we have Chinook Trails Middle School students, Zach and Ethan.
Hey everyone, I'm Zach Dewing. I am from Chinook Trail Middle School. I'm an 8th grader, and I'm here with my good buddy Ethan to talk about positive friends. So let's just start off. What do positive friends do for us? Well, I know from experience they kind of like lift us up when we're not feeling the best. They always try and make us laugh to help lift us up. Hopefully always honest with us, just to get the point straight through, and there for when you need them. Or so, like if you're going through a rough time or just it wasn't the best day, you could just go to them and you have someone to talk to at least. I know from a couple of experiences that, let's just say, I was just sitting alone one day at lunch, and there was really no one there. There was no one to sit with, so I just had to like sit alone because I didn't really know anyone at the time. Um, but the a little while after I sat down, a couple people that I didn't know, they came over to talk to me and was like, "Hey, I see that you're sitting alone. You should come and join us, so you have people to talk to." And I thought that was really cool just to show the positive friendship. And now we're still friends today, so that was pretty cool. But I'm gonna hand it over to Ethan to finish up.
Hi, I'm Ethan Cronin, and so to continue on what Zach was saying, so throughout my life, I've changed schools twice, one in elementary and middle school. And in elementary, I moved from an English class to a Spanish immersion class. And I was pretty crappy at English, and so it was hard for me to figure out what the teacher was saying and what I needed to do. But one of the kids that were on the desk right next to me helped me understand what I needed to do. And since then, we're still pretty good buddies. And at school, we, Sources of Strength and other groups have put together hot chocolate bars where we hand out hot chocolate and you get to go sit down with your friend and have a nice a nice meal together that's not just lunch. And we're planning to do a photo booth, so then you'll always have the memories of those friends. And it's always nice to have positive friends. You should definitely have some.
All right, so moving on to mentors, we have a couple of kids from Discovery Canyon Middle School, and talking to us about mentors is going to be Ashton and Dominic.
Hi, my protective tower is on mentors. Mentors can be a lot if you're going through a hard point in your life. For example, if you're feeling anxious or stressed at all, mentors can help you find a way to calm down or just relax for a bit. But not all mentors are just used for mental health. Some are for physical. For example, if you had a physical trainer to get you in shape or stay in shape. Um, some prior knowledge I have of having a mentors can be, for example, anyone. My grandma, I have knowledge with them giving me a lot of mental advice. My great grandma used to say, if you always look for the bad in people, you can't find it, but if you always find the good in people. Now I try to look for the good in people whenever I meet them, so I can start off good. Another mentor for me is my mom, because when I was 5 years old, it was really hard for me to ride my bike to do sensory processing, which made my motor skills not the best. So it took me a year, and I went out every day learning to ride a bike. And after a year of trying, I finally got it down. So that was kind of cool. But parents, a good way to be a mentor is just to let your kids come to you when they need help with something. Just listen to them for a while, and after they talk, then you can speak to them and help them out.
Okay, so we are having some technical difficulties with Ashton, but we are going to be coming back to him, so we are going to move on to healthy activities being presented by TCA College Pathways student Caleb.
Oh, hello.
Caleb, you can go ahead and go.
Hey, Caleb, you're muted again.
Caleb gets the Rockstar Perseverance Award. He struggled with this last night too, and he made it through, so he's worth the wait.
Hello?
We can hear you.
Awesome. I'm Caleb Sharon from TCA College Pathways. Sorry about that technical difficulty there. We've been dealing with a few of those lately. But I'll be presenting on healthy activities, which is actually one of my favorite things on the wheel. And healthy activities, a lot of people have this kind of idea that they have to be, oh, you're going to go work out or go on a hike. Most of them are more mental activities that help you refresh your mind. I mean, I like to do stuff physically a lot. I'm a pretty active person, but I enjoy listening to music and reading and maybe just going outside and just meditating, and that dips a bit into spirituality, but all of those strengths are connected. That's why the wheel works so well. A lot of the healthy activities are connecting with others. A lot of them are going somewhere to be with people, but some of them are just grounding yourself personally and connecting yourself back to what's important. One quote by a theologian, kind of quotey guy that you quote a lot, is A.D. Posey, and he said, "Take a deep breath, inhale peace, and exhale happiness." And I feel like just taking a moment to take a deep breath, inhale the peace, and exhale the happiness, and just kind of reset your brain. That's a healthy activity in itself. But physical activity can also affect your mental health really, really deeply. There's been research that a couple researchers did on a undergrad community and had a set of them do pretty intense physical activity, a set of them do pretty moderate physical activity, and a set do no physical activity at all. And that the results came back, and the undergrad community-wide depression went down significantly. They saw significantly less depression and mental health struggles within the entire population. And that was just really interesting to see. I'll post a few more things on the physical activities list on the Padlet because I listed a lot in a document for myself. I'll just put those over there. One thing for parents with physical activity and healthy activity, and for teachers even, when kids see you doing that, they'll see that as part of being productive and healthy, and being like, to be an adult is to do this healthy activity. So when they're trying to get to that point of being like an adult, they're going to do those healthy activities as well. So if they see you reading a book or just reflecting on your day and just processing stuff really well, they're going to start learning how to process in themselves. So as you go about your week, I recommend that you try some of these healthy activities and see if it makes you feel better, and then maybe talk to your kids about that. But that's healthy activities. Back to Abigail.
Thank you so much, Caleb. We are going to circle back to Ashton, and she's going to finish up presenting mentors for us. So
Yeah, so I'm really sorry about all of the technical difficulties, but I did want to thank everyone who was here today for being here and everyone who's presenting some more has done such a great job. But like I said, my name is Ashton, and today I'll be talking about mentors. A mentor is basically a trusted adult to lean on. They're good influence, they're going to lift you up, and they're going to help guide you down the right paths. A quote I found from youthmentor.org said, "Students who meet regularly with their mentors are 52% less likely than their peers to skip a day of school and 37% less likely to skip a day of class. Youth who regularly meet with their mentors are also 46% less likely than their peers to start using illegal drugs and 27% less likely to start drinking." And I just thought that was an interesting fact. Like I said earlier, that mentors can really help guide you down the right path and can help your kids go down that right path as well. So some of my mentors include my mom, and a handful of my teachers at DCC. A story I have from Miss Matt is kind of that we used to meet quite a lot. And just between going through some issues at home and going through issues at school, just on top of that, being able to talk to my mentor and have a trusted adult advice helped so much. And I also just wanted to encourage you parents out there to be that trusted adult and mentor for your children. I know a lot of the times when we get home, when you guys get home from work and we get home from school, our conversation is, "Hey, how was your day?" "My day was good. How was yours?" That's great. But I really encourage you parents to ask questions that are a little bit deeper. Like, for example, me and my mom ask questions a lot. Like, what is something kind that you saw another person do? What is something kind that you did today? Maybe what are you most proud of today and what are you least proud of today? Just so you can really know what your child did at school and your child can know how your day went as well. And I know every single one of you parents out here tonight care so deeply about their children, but sometimes we just forget that and we really need to know. And it just helps so much to know that you guys care so much about us and just are willing to have those deeper conversations with us. So I encourage you to ask deeper and thoughtful questions with your children and be that mentor for your child. And I just want to say thank you for listening to my little bit, and I hope you have a good rest of your night and listening to the presentation.
All right, thank you so much, Ashton. That was great. Now we're going to move on to generosity, and this is going to be presented by two Liberty High School students, Hannah and Tirza.
Hi, my name is Hannah Brown, and Tirza and I will be discussing generosity with you tonight. Oh wait, am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay, my computer's giving me weird notifications. So generosity is an act of kindness, whether small or large, that is given without anything expected in return. Generosity can be holding the door open, smiling at someone, or giving a stranger a compliment. Generosity not only affects the person receiving it positively, but also the giver's mental and physical health can be impacted. Generosity can reduce stress, increase your lifespan, boost your mood, eliminate our critical inner voice, lower our blood pressure, release endorphins, naturally fight depression, and enhance our sense of purpose. Tirza has more on this.
Okay, so I personally spread generosity by doing volunteer work for my neighbors, and by even just being with them or offering to do their work. It's amazing because their faces always light up, and like they're always like grateful, and I find it to be rewarding on both ends. One, I get like the endorphins released in me because I am helping other people and making them happy, but they're also happy that someone's taking the time out of their day to help them. And I mean, some ways to practice generosity would be listening with the intent to listen. Like, when having a conversation with other people, older, younger, same age, just listening without the intent to respond. It's oftentimes hard to do, but a very important skill that a lot of society needs to learn. Maybe even cleaning the house for kids without being asked. That is very helpful for parents and just a big stress reliever because no one likes a messy house. Really, you're stepping on toys all the time. Even simple dinners with the whole family and no electronics are just a breather. And you can have a family-to-family conversation, which also like goes into the family support. And these are just simple ways to be generous, but making a conscious decision to help or even be nice is something that will make everyone's day brighter and happier.
Thank you so much, you two. We are going to pivot onto spirituality, and we are going to have Rampart High School students Annika, Adia, and Caitlin talk to us about that.
All right. Hi, I'm Annika Wilson, and we're going to be presenting about spirituality. So spirituality can often be conceived as religion or faith, but it can also just be a connection to anything greater than yourself. And as someone put it, spirituality is anything that makes your spirit soar. And so it's great for students' mental and physical health. It can help students keep mentally grounded and have a firm foundation in their beliefs. And it provides just a break and calmity from our busy world. It can also foster community between individuals and help students to understand their worth. Activities like volunteering help students to realize their potential in the world and to also just create a healthy mindset of others. And things like gratitude journals are a great tool for students so they can start developing this mindset and just their connection to the world. And spirituality can also be used to help keep healthy physically through like walks and hikes in nature. And for me, spirituality is that connection to my faith. And I find that through worship or sermons, and also just connecting to nature and having that community in my family and through my friends. And now I'm passing it to Adia.
Hi all, my name is Adia Hopkins. I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about some research behind spirituality and also just my personal examples as well. So one site, ISRN Psychiatry, stated that beliefs and well-being seem to be connected and that it's now commonly believed that spirituality is helpful when specifically dealing with mental health. Spirituality deals with your soul and with your spirit, which allows you to find an identity and a purpose that's not based on circumstances, which are changing, but is constant and reliable, which helps mental health during 2020 and 2021 when times are rough. And also for me, like Annika said, spirituality allows me to connect with my faith through prayer, through meditating on biblical scripture, but also, like she mentioned as well, spirituality deals with your spirit, and that can include anything from games and puzzles to going outside and going on hikes and walks. Something that I encourage parents to do is really take that time to spend time with your kids, and I know most do or want to, but that really helps spirituality as well. Just connecting with family and having that meaningful family time really allows students' spirits to soar. So I hope this encourage you guys, and I am passing it on to Caitlin.
Hi, I'm Caitlin. Okay, sorry, I said I was muted. I'm Caitlin. Yeah, so we really want to be in touch with our spirit, and part of that is what makes us whole and what keeps us grounded. So like we encourage self-discovery and reflecting on our own wants and needs, especially in the moment. So if we're stressed in the moment, what are we going to do to help relieve that stress? And staying grounded with anything with meditation and music and gratitude journals. I know those have helped a lot of my friends because they remember how much they have in their life and it makes them feel good. I know personally that I listen to music when I'm stressed, like it's just that turning it up all the way, ignoring stuff so I can focus on myself and really connect back to my spirit. And it helps me a lot to just rejuvenate. And then like finding my purpose. Once I've focused on me, I can then focus on the others in my community because that gives me purpose and it gives my spirit purpose and it makes me feel whole and it makes my spirit feel good. And it's what makes my spirit soar. So, and just as a closing for Annika, Adi, and I, we really hope that spirituality can become a big part in your life and strong for you as it is for us.
All right, and we also, just before we move on to our last source of the night, we just wanted to remind you all that the Padlet is still open. So if you guys are thinking about something that you might want to add there, the link is still going to be valid for a very long time. So if throughout any of this you have something that comes to mind, feel free to write that down in there so we can all see it. Finally, talking about medical access and mental health from Pine Creek High School, we have Kira.
Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, awesome. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Kira Kleckner. I am a senior at Pine Creek High School. I have been a part of Sources of Strength all 4 years, and I have also served on a couple district boards. So I just want to thank you all for having me. And tonight I'm going to be talking about physical health, but more specifically medical access and mental health. So oftentimes when we're having our meetings and stuff and we're describing medical access to other members of our Sources of Strength or students within our school, we often remind them that it's not just limited to your primary care doctor or just like a trip to the hospital. For example, like a twisted ankle or the flu or common things that students might go to the doctor for. But we also like to tell them that you can also go to the doctor and see counselors, or you can see more like the mental side of it. And that's kind of where the mental health plays into your physical health as well. So a lot of students, we kind of in our generation have this like stigma about mental health. And one of our big challenges at Pine Creek is we've been really trying to break that. And so within this stigma of mental health, we have been highlighting different examples of how you can improve your mental health throughout the campaigns that we've been doing at Pine Creek. Oftentimes, students don't really see the importance of mental health. They kind of push it aside and tell themselves, oh, I'm okay, maybe I'm just having a bad day and things like that, when really it could be something a little bit more serious. And talking to someone is a really great way to kind of help you get through that. So during my time at Pine Creek, I have noticed that students don't really realize how much their hobbies and their interest in sports and clubs and other activities have really helped them or helped their emotional situation. And so as a result, Sources of Strength has worked really closely with students to fill in the gaps that students have a break-in with their mental health and their physical health. And during our meetings, I guess, during this COVID time, we have been trying to do things such as yoga lessons, art classes, mental health outreach things. And one of my favorite things that Pine Creek does is during our finals week, they actually bring in therapy dogs to help reduce the stress within our students. And so that's been one of my favorite things that has really helped me get through my high school years. But for me, the purpose of Sources of Strength is to better equip students with resources and connections to help be successful in all aspects of their life, not just mental health, not just physical health. And the biggest thing that has really helped me get through my mental health the past 4 years is just staying connected. I'm also on our executive council for student council. And so just being able to see the Sources of Strength side and being able to be on the executive side of student council has really helped me connect to more students, kind of stay grounded within my own personal life and all kinds of stuff like that. But definitely staying involved in talking to people and constantly being in the know of things at Pine Creek has really helped me with my mental health throughout the past 4 years at Pine Creek. So I would encourage you guys to join a club, join an activity. If you're scared, just take the leap. It's going to be okay, I promise. You'll make friends in the end and it'll be great. So thank you all for listening, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
All right, thank you so much, Kira. Really quickly, I just wanted to talk to you guys at home for just a quick minute. I wanted to let you guys know that Those Sources of Strength is a program that primarily involves students and teachers in school. The resources that we provide are also for you, and they're also for all the administrators, all the parents, every adult. It's a community thing. So we do have a couple of resources that we would like to share with you so that you can kind of take action and you can start getting more involved with Sources of Strength based on what you saw from this presentation. So I'm going to show you just one of the resources that we have. I know Martha is going to go over a bunch of them too, but I'm going to try and share my screen. Never done this before, so we'll see how it goes, but I'm going to give this a shot. If you guys can see that, I really hope you can. This is one of the resources that we have. It is called the Sources of Strength Self-Care Card. It's basically just a formatting document, but I'm going to have Brinley tell you a little bit more about it.
So this self-care card, it's just a way to get conversation going. It's a way to document how you're feeling, and it's kind of like almost like checkpoints for your mental health. And so you can see it says positive friends I can talk to, and then ABC. So you can list 3 positive friends, and then it'll talk about mentors or supports I can talk to, and it lists those. And it basically just goes through this list so that you feel less alone, and it helps you feel a little bit more in control of your emotions in your life and what's going on.
So yeah, this is a really good mindfulness tool that you could use. Okay, yeah, this is just a really good resource that you guys can use. I think Martha is going to try and make it so that you guys have access to that and the one that she's about to share. So now we're going to go back to Martha for a quick minute for a couple more of those resources for you.
So I am going to share now the Padlet that you guys have been working on, hopefully, and you can still add to it if you would like. Let me pull this up. And you should be, oh my goodness, we have all kinds of great stuff here. So under family support, positive friends, mentors, we are planning local road trips. Looks like we have an alligator farm. How fun is that? Road trips and camping, painting, talking to a friend, having pet time, going for a family bike ride, family movie nights. Great ideas. And these are all ideas that you can keep referring back to. It will stay here. Healthy activities. You can create something, art, gardening, cooking, music, writing, crafting. Love that. Outdoors. Taking in views, dog walking, music and singing. That's awesome. Practicing gratefulness. Playing basketball, generosity ideas. Wow. Cleaning the house without being told to. That's an awesome one for kids, guys. Forced family fun on the weekends. I think that was mine that I put in last week. That was, my kids are in their 20s now, and they still love to talk about forced family fun. For mental and physical health, trying to let the beauty of nature never grow old. I know we live in such a beautiful city and state. Venting with friends, listening to music and reading books, getting outside even in the poor weather, going on walks. I love this. When driving to work or other errands, I'll pretend that I'm on vacation and get to be there or in a paid ride. It changes my perspective and helps me to de-stress. I love that, talking to my therapist. Asking your child questions about things he loves when you're walking your dogs. Dig in and ask follow-up questions to connect deeply. He loves being able to be an expert in things I don't have a lot of experience in. I love that. And that deep connection is so powerful. So thank you for the things that you added. You can continue to add ideas here if you would like. As Liz shared with us earlier, you just click on this plus sign and it lets you type right in there. Also in this final column is our resources from tonight. We will also put a link to the chat in some of this. I love the 7 things mindful families do differently. Love that. I'm not sure who posted that, but that is awesome. The ones down here I'm about to go through, and these will also be posted in the chat, this link. These are straight from Sources of Strength. And I am going to quit sharing my screen. Thank you, Maureen. So a couple of the other resources that are in the link from Sources one is a wellness plan for families that has some really great ideas for kind of making a plan for being well. We have some journal prompts in there that you could discuss. You know, you could certainly talk to your kids about writing about it, but they're good questions that you might ask at the dinner table or something like that. There are 2 rather sophisticated coloring sheets that you might have fun with. One is a tangled ball of emotions, and one is a streets check-in coloring sheet. As before, we talked about the Sources self-care card. Abby and Brindley just shared that. It is great. We do this a lot with students. It has you name those kinds of activities that are calming to you. Those kinds of activities that help you, like when you're angry or you need to vent or get some emotion out. It talks about who are those people that are your trusted people that you go to for support. It has 3 things you're grateful for. It's just really great. I keep one, and usually it changes depending on where I am and those kinds of things, of my go-tos, right? That I know when I'm experiencing anxiety or anger or that sadness for whatever's going on. I can go right to what I know my go-tos are to help me to tap into my strengths. And also in that packet of resources, there are 2 different little booklets about practicing strength at home. And these are 2 booklets that Sources put together at the very, one of them's at the very beginning of the pandemic, and one is around the holidays. And it says winter, but they both have great activities for families, no matter what time of year it is, no matter if we're in a pandemic or not. There's actually a calendar that has something to do every day with every strength wheel. We have a joke, not a joke, but we have this challenge in Sources. Can I tap into every part of the wheel in one day? And if I'm doing that daily, my goodness, I am going to feel my sense of well-being is going to be better. I'm just gonna be better and healthier all the way around. So we hope so much that these resources will be helpful to you and your family. More than anything tonight, I hope that these students have inspired you as much as they inspire me on a daily basis towards health and well-being and spreading those positive messaging of hope, help, and strength to all those around us. Now, if you would like to ask questions, or you have any comments or questions for our students or any of the adult leaders that are present tonight, please, you can put those in the chat right now, and we'll try to answer the best we can. we're going to give just a minute or two because we are delayed about a minute. So if you have any questions, just put them in the chat and we'll go from there. Well, thank you so much for being with us tonight. It doesn't look like we have any questions, which students, that means you did an amazing job of explaining and sharing your personal stories. Thank you, thank you, thank you to these amazing students and so many other students across our district. We probably have close to somewhere between 600 and 700 peer leaders that are working and working in their schools to create that culture of hope, help, and strength versus sad shock trauma. Oh my goodness, now we have some questions coming in. It's because we have a delay. I can't see the first one. It says, thanks to the young presenters and, hold on. Thanks to the young presenters and all the support. Great job. How do we open up communication with a child who does not want to chat? I think that is meant for a student. Any of you that would like to answer that?
Am I allowed to answer this one?
Of course.
Okay. So a lot of the times, especially in middle school and high school, you're going to run into those students who aren't going to want to open up to you as a parent. And I think, I cannot remember which presenter talked about this, but it was said that a lot of the times, if you come to your child and you're like, hey, what's wrong? And they either say nothing or they don't want to talk about it, then you have to give them the space to process it on their own and to choose which strengths they're going to use. So you don't get to choose that for them. It's an individual, and that sounds a little bit harsh, and I didn't mean it like that, but it's like they have to make that choice for themselves as to when and if they're going to lean on you. So I encourage you to try and tell your child, that you are there if they want to talk, but then also keep the distance and be able to give them their space when they need it.
Oh wait, okay. Sorry, going off
okay.
of that, I know another person presented, I think it was Ashton, and she was talking about how she and her mom will ask questions aside from just how was your day. And if you have a child who isn't giving a lot of feedback when they answer questions, but they'll still answer them, maybe try asking them more specific questions without seeming like you're shaking them down for information, and see if you get anything out of that.
Yeah.
But obviously Abby gave great advice, and she was totally right.
Thank you. No, it's a tricky line to walk. It's definitely difficult to find the point where when do I push them to talk and when do I give them the space, and you do have to judge it kind of based on what you know about your child and based on the situation and the environment that you're in. Because a lot of the times, teenagers will just shut down and they'll need their own time to process whatever they're feeling and their own time to choose which thing on the wheel that they're going to use, if any of them, or if they just need a couple of minutes to just reset their brain. So your child, and especially I know this from personal experience, and I'm sure Brinley and a lot of the other presenters here can speak to this, but we don't always want to talk about our problems. And if we do, we might not want to talk to you about it. And that might be, that will feel, I know that can hurt for sure, but we're at a time in our lives right now where we have to process things for ourselves in order to find out who we are going to be in the future. So if you give your student a little bit of space to choose when to talk, at the same time as kind of balancing, noticing if they are going to need further help. It's just a tricky line to walk, but that's what I would say.
And sorry, I'm gonna keep piggybacking off of her. But in addition, if you feel like your child is really in a place where they need to talk to someone and they might have like more urgent things going on that they're not sharing with you, maybe find a way to, oh, can you see me there? To gently suggest maybe trying to get them like a therapist or talking to their school counselor, because sometimes it's just better for the child to have a connection and someone to talk to outside of the family, because maybe there's like things in like going on with their family that they don't necessarily want to be talking to a family member about, and it's all relative. So it totally varies on the child, and obviously this goes for teenagers and like tweens, I don't know, preteens, I don't know what we're calling them now, but it goes for everyone.
Thank you, girls. That was great advice. Great advice. Is there any other student that wants to weigh in there? I think you kind of included what several students have said tonight, so that's excellent. So we also had a question about once you're a peer leader or you're always a peer leader. Yes. This year has been really difficult with virtual meetings and those kinds of things, but just make sure that your student contacts their adult advisor to let them know that they still want to be a part of it. So I appreciate some of the students have commented about that. You can see some of their responses in the chat. Is Sources of Strength a group or club that is available at every D20 school for students to join? You know, it's not really a club. You might look at it that way. And any student, while we have different staff in the school nominate, and the beauty of Sources of Strength is that we want to work with that social networking theory of getting students that are in all the different social groups within the school and working at creating that positive culture change throughout all aspects of the school. So we want a wide variety of students. We want diverse students. We want, because as we share and talk about all these great strengths and protective factors and positive messaging, we want those students to be able to take that back to their social networking. And as we know, in a lot of our, especially middle school and high school, there's a lot of drama, right? And we, instead of sad, shock, trauma, we want to promote hope, help, and strength. And that takes years of just that positive culture change through that social network theory. So that was a long way to answer your question. So any student that is passionate about that would like to be a part of it, they just need to inquire with the adult leads at their school, and we never turn anybody down that would like to be a part of it. It looks like we have one more question. Can parents join the Sources of Strength team? We love having parents to support Sources of Strength. We're always needing things donated, help with planning campaigns or activities. We kind of do campaigns around these protective factors so that every person in the student body can participate in them. Like for instance, one that a lot of schools have just done around Valentine's Day is around positive friends. I know Rampart is getting ready to do a carnival during the lunch hours, and they do different games around the different strengths, and it's a big hit. So things like that, we would love to have parent permission with and join in with the Sources of Strength groups at the schools. Again, talk to your adult leads in the building. If you don't know who those are, I put my email in the chat. You are welcome to email me if you have specific questions about that, as well as most all of our high schools have sources. We have a couple of middle schools that are adding next year. So you can certainly just email me and I can help you with that question as far as if your child's school has that. Looks like I might have one more new question. Oh, okay. All right, so students, I just want to share with you, there's lots of positive comments in the chat about your work. All the student speakers this evening are so well spoken, knowledgeable, and helpful. Thank you for your presentation. You kids are amazing. Thank you for sharing tonight. I can't tell all of my students that are here and that have spent time this week and last week and yesterday and helping this happen. Just thank you so much. You make such a difference, and we value you, your voice, who you are, and I'm grateful, extremely grateful. Thank you all. Thank you for being with us, and look forward to our 21-22 Parent Academy lineup. Oh, and don't forget to do the evaluation. I posted it right at the beginning of the chat. Thank you. As I itch my nose.